Join us as we talk with Dr. Michael Nagler, the Superintendent of Schools in Mineola, on the next Wake Up with Jim. Good morning and welcome. Well, today we have a very special guest joining us, Dr. Michael Nagler. He's the Superintendent of Schools in Mineola, New York, and Mineola has been recognized a number of times for being an innovative district, and Dr. Nagler himself has been recognized as the New York State Superintendent of the Year this past year. Let's meet Dr. Nagler.
Well, hey, Michael, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Great. Well, a couple questions for you. The first is, as a superintendent, you might want to share what kind of factors do you have to take into account when you're faced with such a unique situation as this year, and even as you're thinking about starting up the next school year?
Well, of course, there's this great opportunity in distance learning to do things differently. So how do we look at student work and content, and how do we assess kids and their knowledge of that? So I look at it as this wonderful silver lining in a terrible pandemic to let's have some fun, let's do things differently, let's ask kids to have some choice in how they demonstrate what they've learned. And how do we assess kids differently? I think ESGI is a great bridge there for us because it gives us this ability to look at assessment in an atypical way.
Right. Yeah, I think it's really important, like you said, try to find the positives in a situation like this. So what challenges do you think you've been able to meet the best, and which ones still are an ongoing challenge for districts like Mineola?
Well, we were a little ahead of the curve in terms of digital content, and we had a fully vetted digital curriculum. So from that perspective, it was very easy for us to transition. Our LMS is robust, and our ability to communicate with kids and our different resources. So we built that over time. I think the challenge for all of us in this distance learning is really engagement, is how you can maintain. We're in week 12 now. How do you maintain? It becomes monotonous and the same. We don't want to lecture. We don't want to do the same thing over and over. So, it's the freedom to change your curriculum and think about teaching in a project-based or problem-based way, and look at bigger pictures. And I think that remains a challenge, but it's a challenge that can only help us when we get back.
Yeah, definitely. And you've touched upon it, but programs like ESGI, other online programs, how are you incorporating them in, and how are the teachers adapting to that?
Well, there's a lot of concern around assessment. I hear a lot about kids are going to be at a deficit when they come back, and there's this loss. And I keep reminding people it's what's the comparison for the loss? If we're all out an equal number of time, every student, wherever they are, is going to move together in some way. So it's really thinking about, you move away from the standardization of our typical assessments, and how can we build and modify assessments that give us meaningful information. I think ESGI is beautiful in that respect. It's like you can really build whatever type of assessment you like, digitize it, get a dashboard about it, get information that's actionable for teachers at every level. So we're really excited about it. We use it in our badging, our badge book in our younger grades, and our teachers love it. It really created a system for us to take a non-digital concept and make it easier for teachers to implement.
That's great. Well, we certainly are glad to hear that, because that's our goal, is to really, allow teachers to do more, particularly in this situation here. A final question for you. What do you tell your teachers? What do you tell teachers in general? Do you have, advice, guidance on, how do you get through situations like this, and what should we look forward to in the future?
Well, my guidance for everyone is really, this is not normal. There's nothing normal about it. You cannot apply what we normally do to any given situation. I think first and foremost is kids' well-being. It's not academics. So I want my teachers to physically see their students, conversations with their kids, make sure everybody's okay at home. make sure we're not anxious over any, missed work or not handing things in on time. That's the first and foremost. And then secondly is think about stuff differently. You have this wonderful opportunity to teach the way you want. You don't have to worry about the things you have to do. So do the things you want to do, and embrace that, and have your kids embrace that, because the learning will come. Kids are resilient, and we just have to continue on this path of it's not great, but we're going to make the best of it. And let's, when they come back, we're going to welcome that and make sure we're in the best shape we can be.
Right. Yeah, really good advice there. And we forget sometimes that kids and students are sometimes more resilient than we are, and they really do adapt well to the situation. Sure. Well, Michael, thanks so much for joining us here this morning, and then best of luck as you conclude the school year and as you prepare for next year.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was enjoyable. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.